Samba Sport Podcast, where stories are told.
You're watching Samba Sport Podcast, and here is where stories are told. And my name is Dalila Hamza. Today in the podcast, we'll be bringing in a lady of substance, a lady who decided to give back to the society and in venturing in more in those marginalized community. I'm talking about a lady who is championing Tuwajali Wajane Kwale. And this is an important session as she is a fellow of the Fazil Chinoy Fellowship. And this lady will be taking us through the struggles on the site. Yani yeye alikuwa yuko kwa site. Thank you very much. Allow me to introduce to you Mwanasha Gaserego, the founder of Tuwajali Wajane Kwale. Mwanasha, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Sister Dalila. How are you?
It's a pleasure because she's also a journalist. I mean, this is a small world. The last time we met, she was on her toes giving out exemptions and achievements of what her initiative have been doing to the community. Mwanasha, tell us in a just speak situation, how did this Tuwajali Wajane Kwale come to light? And was it your dream?
Yes, it was. First of all, thank you for this opportunity. Mm-hmm. My name is Mwanasha Gaserego. I'm a wife and a mother of two. Mm-hmm. And I'm a Kenyan from Kwale County. Mm-hmm. I come from a marginalized community and a member of a minority community, the Tswaka community of Kwale County. Mm-hmm. I'm a journalist by profession, mm-hmm. but very passionate about community development work, mm-hmm. in the field of empowerment programming. Mm-hmm. Over 7 years of experience in community development work, mm-hmm. and I've worked with youth and women. And during the COVID-19 in 2020, mm-hmm. I saw a challenge in the community. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of stigma and economic and social marginalization, mm-hmm. That widows were facing, mm-hmm. in this particular community. Mm-hmm. And through that, as a human being, mm-hmm. and as a local and a resident of that community, mm-hmm. So I have something to do about it. Mm-hmm. And that's where I started doing the Tuwajali Wajane Kwale initiative. Mm-hmm. This is an initiative that serves over 821 widows in Kwale County. Mm-hmm. The widows are organized in 30 groups. Mm-hmm. We have 15 of these groups in Sambweni location, mm-hmm. and we have other 15 groups in Mivumoni location. Mm-hmm. And all these groups are supported by the Fazil Chinoy Fellowship, where I'm a fellow. Mm-hmm. But the Fazil Chinoy Fellowship came to complement the work that I was already doing, mm-hmm. having just completed first year of this particular initiative, mm-hmm. Through the fellowship. And I'm very grateful to Samba Sports Youth Agenda, mm-hmm. and all stakeholders working with me in this particular project and mentoring me, working with me through this particular journey.
Being a mentor of this kind of initiative, maybe if you highlight to us why Kwale? Why not any other place? Why this place?
Kwale because first it's home. Okay. Kwale is home, and I see challenges around widows, mm-hmm. here at home, mm-hmm. and charity begins at home.
Absolutely.
And that's why this has really forced me to start this particular initiative here. Mm-hmm. And also it's part of giving back to the community, mm-hmm. having been raised in Kwale, mm-hmm. in a conservative Muslim culture, mm-hmm. and a community where women have been seen, mm-hmm. As people who belong to the kitchen, mm-hmm. and breaking through all those community myths and stereotypes, mm-hmm. Seeing myself where I am, mm-hmm. I really have I have to give back to the community, mm-hmm. to be a model, to lead change, mm-hmm. to influence the older generation that sees a woman's place is in kitchen, that, mm-hmm. yes, women can.
Absolutely. Because in certain cases, when you move around and you're always on the ground, looking at what these widows are going through, and also these young mothers who are there and being suffocated. Let's talk about your breakthrough. When you started this initiative, how was it like? And how was your breakthrough like?
First, I'm a daughter of a widow.
Okay.
My mother passed on when I was in Form 2, only 16 years old. And I could see what my father was going through, raising us as a single parent, though he had the help of my aunties and my grandmother and my uncles. But then you could really feel that part of widowhood in him. And I got married in another community or another sub-county. Apart from that one of my origin, because I come from Lunga sub-county and I got married in Sambweni sub-county. So there I saw similar situations with widows. During COVID-19, most widows had their children before the COVID-19, children were housed in orphanages, the orphans, orphanages, facilitated through their education, health. But when COVID-19 came, the institution had closed down because of the fear of COVID-19 and also because of resources. Most of these institutions depend on donor funding. So during that period, there are no donors. Everyone was struggling with COVID-19. So they were sent back to their parents. Where the parents themselves or their mothers who are widows are being driven out of those homes because their spouses had passed on. So that is a big challenge. It was a big challenge. You are taking back an orphan back to the mother who is a widow, and then the mother now is told that you have no place in this particular home because your husband passed on. So I had to intervene, bringing these widows together. At that time, the trauma in them, the stress was so high, in that we had to do a rapid response towards addressing the stress issue and the trauma issues. We were doing this through the Qadhi's office, that is who represents the religious leaders, also the ustadats, who are also religious leaders in our Islamic space, and also we had other women who faced similar challenges and were overcome. So these women were like a motivation to the other women who were facing these particular challenges as a result of the death of their spouses. So in that way, other members of the community now started to see the work I was doing. And they started beginning to refer widows. They really saw that these widows were really needed help, such type of help. And through that, the initiative continued to grow automatically, because now it was people were demanding that yes, it was a good thing that was happening in the community, and yes, they needed it so that they can change what was existing by that time. So when the number grew, I had to look for other stakeholders, and I approached the social development in Sambweni, and I talked about registering these particular widows, putting them in structures, in groups known by the government, so that for easy running of the initiatives.
You've talked about government. One of your achievements stated was that you held the first International Widows' Day, and you had a petition given to the government for the plight of these widows. To you, how was it like since the petition was taken to the government?
That is a big milestone we are celebrating. In 2021, during the Widows' Day, we have the DC Sim Sambweni presiding over the celebration. And during that Widow's Day, I did my research, and first I did my research and knew that there was an existence of the Women Enterprise Fund, and through the Women Enterprise Fund, there was a product called the Thamini Mjane loan. By that time, the product was being piloted in some parts of the country, but not every part of the country. Okay. And through that, through the International Widows Day, we raised a platform to ask the government now to make sure that it's spread all over, it's implemented all over the 47 counties. And the response was very positive. That was on June 23rd. During the month of July the same year, we started having the Women Enterprise Fund officer Msambweni visiting our groups and training widows about the Thamini Mjane loan. And I'm very happy. I have 8 groups among the 30 applying for this particular loan. But I also have other 2 groups that are non-widows groups that have already benefited from another product of the same fund, that is the Women Enterprise Fund. So another greatest achievement is linking these particular widows or women I serve to institutions, to government institutions and also private institutions that can serve them, because they do not have the facilitation to facilitate them so that they can grow. But through the government and other stakeholders, through the linkages we do, the banks, social services, the gender department, other non-governmental organizations, we are seeing change in widows, and they are beginning to appreciate the project itself. And most of them have success stories to talk about. In terms of healing trauma, we have reached 101 widows. These widows were anti-government. They didn't see, because of the a lot of challenges where they were going through. They had very little belief in the government. But when we linked their children to the Kazi Mtaani, to NYS, and also to business trainings, they saw the importance of the government, and then now they're embracing. They're even attending the Chiefs Baraza nowadays, just because of this particular initiative.
Mwanasha, if you would bear with me as well as the viewer, most of the time, justice delayed is justice denied. Sure. Most of the time, we've been seeing in social media, you have been going to the ground, these widows have been deprived of their rights in inheriting and other stuff. What are you doing to make sure that these widows will be able to receive civic education as well as familiarize or have knowledge on the Constitution with the initiative you're handling?
We have paralegals and also pro bono lawyers in our community. We also have human rights serving organization. So what we do, and we've been linking widows to this organization to get knowledge on and awareness on Matrimonial Property Act, and also to case referral mechanism to understand how do I what type of case, how do I report to the police station to make them aware of the gender desk at the police station, to make them aware the gender desk at the hospitals, to make them aware to differentiate between criminal and civic cases. So that's what we've been doing, a lot of sensitization so that they understand. And also, widows have been serving, most of them come from the Islam religion. And you find that when they were on their waiting periods, after the passing one of their spouses, the religion was not well applied. In that way, this was it was gender-based violence, because tradition took up space. How they observed the 4 months and 10 days waiting period, and these are some of the issues that are making them traumatized, and also making them sick, because most of these widows are elderly, and some of them are not in that good health. So our involvement with the Kadhi's court, with the area Kadhi, to talk about how inheritance is supposed to be, how Ada, or the waiting period after the spouse has passed on, is supposed to be observed, has been really a moment that has enlightened them, in that nowadays the widows can speak for themselves and say, if it happens to my daughter or a friend or a neighbor, then I will really stand and tell them it's not supposed to be this way, than this way.
Okay. Mwanasha, as we wind up, let's get what's on your sleeve, because you have, this is the second year in Fazil Chinoy Fellowship. What are some of the things that you are going to show us or showcase successful stories?
I'm happy that trauma, we have healed trauma among widows. Most of these widows that were suffering from mental health, I can say, now have got a coping mechanism through their group, and some of them have found their passion in life and are pursuing it. For example, there's one widow I like to give an example about. She's very healthy and understands the religion. She went through madrasa at a very high level, but because of how her spouse passed on and how she got traumatized, she had forgotten about it. But I tell you now, she's a madrasa teacher. She realized after we engaged her in this particular project, their confidence is back. They have gained back their confidence. Now they're able to speak without fear. They're also able to associate with others. They are able to also dress well. They are social and economic empowered through the kitchen gardens. Now they are able to harvest some vegetables from their gardens and use at their homes for food, rather than going to buy from the market. Now they are able to refer other women to services, for example, to the police, for example, to the Kadhi's office, to the social services, and really help other women, mentor other women, and help them grow. As we are speaking, they are now advocating to be included in committees relevant to them. For instance, there have been a trend in the entire county that you find that we have a bursary committee, or we have a healthy committee, or we can have some relief food committee targeting widows. For example, these education committees are speaking about the education of an orphan without involving the widow.
Okay. Mwanasha, I would also love for you to give us a parting shot about what are you planning to do as for the community? Do you think we have done enough as a community to help this marginalized community? Just in some few seconds.
What I want to do now is to advocate for inclusion of the widows in the relevant areas where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay. And in the essence of Fazil Chinoy and the fellowship, we're expecting a lot from you. So most probably, what should people be sitting or glued at, or what should they be expecting in this second year of your fellowship?
A lot of community economic empowerment of the widows, and a lot of linkages to economic opportunities, and a lot of a strong voice of the widows, and advocacy, a lot of advocacy activities that target widows.
Okay. Thank you very much for making time, or sparing time rather, to come to this podcast. It's been an amazing session, having a woman who's worth story to be mentioned in the African women who are impacting our society. My name is Dalila Hamza, and this is Summer Sport Podcast. Until next time.